Jeb! Exclamation point. That is his brand, not Bush. He wants to keep his distance from both his brother's administration and his father's silver spoon. So far, those guys are only second and third on the list of people who are overshadowing Jeb! Exclamation point. Number one, of course, is Donald Trump. Listen.
There should have been 2 million people watching. You agree? About 2 million. That's been sort of standard, 2 million people. They had 24 million people, and the 24, I think, is going to go to 28 or 29 and maybe even 30 when the final numbers come in. Who do you think they're watching? Jeb Bush? Huh? I don't think so.
And Donald Trump wins again because we're covering Jeb, but of course we go to a soundbite of Trump. Hans Nichols is with us. He covered the George W. Bush White House, but more importantly, you have covered campaigns and you know how they really work. When you look at money and organization and getting on the ballot, is it possible to still say that Jeb is the front runner?
Yes, because he has the establishment behind him, he has the money behind him. Now, money isn't actually getting him anything in the polls, but it's still early, it's still August. You know, I will say this about Trump's strategy. He's living off earned media. It's living off the land. You look at the in the last 30 years of presidential politics, the three most successful candidates that did that, Jesse Jackson, Mike Huckabee, and John McCain. Jesse Jackson did not become President Jackson. He did live off the land. He ran two remarkable campaigns. John McCain did become his party's nominee. And Mike Huckabee lived off the land pretty well, never really made it past Iowa. So living off the land and getting all this attention now, it's a strategy. It'll get you a buzz. You'll be mentioned in some Wikipedia entry. It's unclear if it makes you your party's nominee or the President of the United States. Yeah, there's a constant debate between earned media or media you buy. There's a really nice piece of reporting this morning in the Wall Street Journal about exactly that, saying that not only is he focusing on his cable appearances, his staffers have been asking him to go do events in person the way you're supposed to. You're supposed to go to these 5-person house parties in New Hampshire. He's not doing that either. Yeah, I suspect when we get to actually voting in New Hampshire and caucuses in Iowa, you actually need to show up to people, talk to voters, and ask for their vote. But he's got sky high in the polls, and we've got a great story in August, and we can keep going with it. We're doing it again. We're supposed to talk about Jeb, but we're talking about Trump.
I want to talk about somebody else. I want to talk about Bernie Sanders, at least for a moment here, who is drawing enormous crowds. I'm curious, in this election, and yes, it's early, is the real spoiler going to be Bernie Sanders and not Trump at all? Is Trump going to end up being a sideshow in the end?
You know, you look at Democratic presidents that have had difficulty in the general election. They've had exceedingly difficult primaries, right? So you saw Lyndon Johnson drop out in 68. You saw 72, quite a bit. You saw Jimmy Carter being weakened in 1980 by the Ted Kennedy run. So being softened up in the primary does matter, and the fact that Bernie Sanders is landing some pretty good jabs and getting some big crowds, that matters, and that's going to hurt Hillary Clinton, though I suspect she'll be her party's nominee.
Do we make too much of the heritage of the Bush name?
No, right? No. No. I mean,
let's look at a poll. Like, in theory, in Iowa, they don't think that it's going to be a problem for him.
Yeah, the 57% poll, or 50 said that they'd like it. But you look at how that compares to what Hillary's connection with her husband is, and it's a total net positive.
Hans Nichols, thank you so much for joining us.